Next up, please help me welcome Tim Crossley, Managing Director of Adyton Resources. Adyton Resources focuses on the development of gold and copper projects in Papua New Guinea.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here to present on Adyton Resources. My name's Tim Crossley. Maybe you can tell from my accent I'm Australian. Adyton is a PNG focused exploration development company. We've got foundation mineral resource to 43101 code of just under 2.2 million ounces. We IPO'd the company in January 2021, but I guess our involvement in PNG through an Australian company called Maya Resources has been for more than 10 years. In fact, we've been in PNG developing projects since sort of about 2012, 2013. So we're very well versed with the jurisdiction. In that company, we've taken two projects, which are industrial minerals, not base metals or precious metals, from discovery right through the permitting stage. And on one of those projects, it's in final financing. In fact, we announced financing a couple of weeks ago. So I think my point is that we're very well versed on PNG as a jurisdiction. Just in the interest of time, I won't go through every slide, but the presentation I'm giving today is on our website. Look, I think PNG speaks for itself in terms of its geological potential. Clearly, one of the world's greatest discovery zones for gold, copper, precious metals, and copper. What you'll notice on this slide is our projects in the orangey colour are not in the PNG highlands. They are in coastal, in both cases actually, they're in island locations. This is actually a strategic decision by the company to not develop projects in the highlands, not because we don't like the geology in the highlands. The highlands is extraordinary, and you can see it by the projects that have been developed there. You know, Oktedi, Porgera, K92, Wafi Golpu, not developed yet, but will almost certainly be developed. But we think it's a difficult jurisdiction. It's expensive to explore. Almost every project requires full helicopter support for exploration. And then once you discover and go to development, the development costs, logistics costs, landowner negotiations, landowner discussions are more complicated, a bit harder. You have to build access roads in, which means you've got to cross over many other people's land to get there, and any one of those people can sort of increase the risk of disruption to your project. So we've taken a strategic decision to develop projects on the islands. Access is easier. We can just park a barge on the beach, walk our drill equipment off, and drill. But I think importantly, if you're developing a project on the islands, you only really have one group of landowners to deal with, and that's the group of landowners on the island. You don't have to deal with anyone on your logistics or your road, because you basically are on the ocean, which is under no particular jurisdiction. So we think it materially de-risks the ability to develop your project, and without any compromise to the geology. Oops, sorry, wrong button. PNG, look. From the geology perspective, I don't think it needs any more introduction. You know, obviously some of the other things we like about PNG, we're Australian based, so it's close to us. Politically, you know, it got independence in 1974. It's had stable governments. It has a Westminster system of government. English is the spoken language. It has a well and very mature Mineral Resources Authority which governs mining, very experienced Mineral Resources Authority. Royalties are 2.5%, so a very attractive royalty regime. PNG has never made an attempt to nationalise or expropriate any project off anyone. So I think from a tenure security or project security perspective, I think PNG is actually floating higher and higher up the totem pole compared to, you know, Latin America or some other parts of the world. So there's a lot of good reasons to be in PNG, and I think the majors and a lot of other companies are starting to realise that. We've obviously, Barrick's been there for a long time. K92's been paving the way for a lot of the juniors and been an incredible success story. We've recently seen Newmont acquire Newcrest, which was a company heavily exposed to PNG through Lihir and Wafi-Golpu. So I think from a mining address, we're very comfortable there, and I get a lot of questions on that, but we're extremely very comfortable. So to our flagship project, which is Fenny Island, I guess why is it a flagship for us? Fenny is located in the Lihir Island chain, east of New England province. If you start at the northeast of that island chain, the first island you come to is Simberi. On the MRA website, Simberi is noted as an 8 million ounce deposit. It was developed as a world-class gold mine about 10 or 15 years ago, still operating today. You go a little bit further southeast, the next island you get to is Lihir. Lihir's arguably one of the greatest gold discoveries and gold projects globally. Again, on the MRA website, Lihir is reported as an 80 million ounce deposit. It's been operating for, I think, over 25 years, producing, you know, close to 1 million ounces a year. Just an extraordinarily rich and amazing deposit. You go a little bit further down that island chain, you get to Fenny Island, our project, currently sitting with 1.5 million ounces. And I'll take you through the thematic of why we think Fenny can be potentially certainly as good as Simberi, and maybe on a trajectory that could take it to a project as big as Lihir. Further on down that island chain, you get to Bougainville and the great Panguna mine, 6.4 million tonnes of copper and 25 million ounces of gold. My point being that we are in an extraordinarily rich discovery zone where every island has basically got a mine on it, and we're at that phase where we've just got to drill a little bit deeper and push into the boiling zone, which is what Lihir had to do before it made its major discoveries. The little diagram in the bottom, I think, explains it all. The geological feature that we see on Fenny is identical to Simberi, identical to Lihir. You've effectively got some northeast trending structures and east and some other structures crossing those which enable the fluids to come up into a boiling zone and deposit your gold. I think the one point I will make that's a little bit different to Lihir for us, and I'm just going to skip over a couple of slides here, just in the interest of time, is Lihir is predominantly a gold project. I mean, I don't think it really recovers any other credits. What is very interesting at Fenny, it looks like we've got probably 3 mineral systems on Fenny. There's an epithermal overprint Lihir style deposit where we're seeing huge runs of 180, 200 metres from surface of medium grade gold, sort of holes of sort of 0.6, 0.8, 1.1 grams per tonne. So, which is what Lihir saw until it started to drill a bit deeper, and that's when it, once it got into the epithermal, the pure epithermal boiling zone, it really hit some significant grades and is predominantly where their resource lies. So our focus on our next program on Fenny will be to push a bit deeper and hit those boiling zones, and we're very confident of seeing a huge expansion to the resource. The other point I would like to make about Fenny, and I'll just step forward a couple more slides here, is the difference being that we're seeing quite a lot of copper in the system. This hole here on the screen is the fourth hole we drilled in late 2021. If I use the pointer here, that would have been the original ground surface before a subsequent volcanic event dropped about 70 metres in this case of tephra cover over the top. So once we'd pushed through that tephra cover with that drill hole, we were straight into mineralisation, 0.3% copper, 1.1 gram for about 40 metres, and then we hit a massive sulphide copper, 6.5 metres, 5.1% copper. And then gold pushing down all the way to about 350 metres. The point being, down the bottom here, we were seeing some high-grade gold, which probably means we're either in the boiling zone or close to it. The other point about this hole here is you could argue that it's a little bit of a one-hole wonder, and clearly not, because if you look at the slide up here, I went back and had a look at some historical drilling, and also noting that quite a lot of the historical drilling on Fenny didn't even assay for copper. Yeah, it's extraordinary, but didn't assay for copper. But here's some holes that did assay for copper. If you look at KAD 001, 57 metres, 1.1 gram, including 55 metres of 0.4% copper. AMD 002, 114 metres, 1.1 gram, including 10 metres of 0.5% copper. And then the MAD series holes, which was the last program prior to our company picking up the tenement. An extraordinarily long run of 0.7 gram gold, 284 metres, 0.7 gram gold, including 72 metres of 0.3% copper. So from a geologist and a mineralisation perspective, we're sort of seeing three systems here. We're seeing an epithermal system, and then this hole is indicating that we've either got some penciling happening on a porphyry system sitting underneath, which is bringing the copper up, or it's some sort of a high sulfidation intrusion, which has got us extremely excited given the copper potential and obviously the pre-existing gold potential that exists on Fenny. Some petrographics we did on the island based on that hole 4 indicated that we are sitting in porphyry style mineralisation, confirmation of that with an epithermal overprint over the top. What I'll do now is just skip forward to our Ferguson Island assets, which are in Milne Bay. We've got 2 projects here, very advanced, ready for development, and that's exactly what we're doing. The 2 projects in the green are Gamata and Wapolo. Wapolo was a gold mine, developed as a gold mine in the early to mid-90s, and unfortunately the guys got their metallurgy a bit wrong, built an oxide plant when there really wasn't much oxide ore, didn't have the money to make the changes to their flow sheet and went broke. We were just on the island of 2 weeks ago with a JV partner, and we'll be working with them to look at restarting. But just some intercepts from our last drill program on Ferguson in Gamata. You can see some great grades, all very shallow. I don't think we did one drill hole deeper than 115 metres. Plenty of intercepts of 4 or 5 grams a tonne. And as I said, it's really development ready. So we're now moving into feasibility, bulk sampling, and geotechnical drilling, tailings dam assessment, with the intention of putting an ML application in about 12 months' time. The process in PNG, once you get the ML application in, from our experience in another company, is it took us 12 months in both cases from the ML submission date until the ML is granted. And once you've got your ML, that's your license to operate. I've discussed some of those grades. That's just an image which shows there's significant expansion potential also on Gamma, both downstrike in the red zone on this image here, and also to the southeast where the resources hasn't been expanded into. But you can see there's one hole there, GRC 076, 5 metres of 6.5 grams. So, you know, I guess the scale of Gamma, in our view, in our geologist's view, it's currently got about 500,000 ounces. We think it's probably a 1 to 1.5 million ounce deposit, but our focus won't be to expand the resource, but effectively to do some infill drilling and actually start the whole development cycle. Here's just a cross section. Let's keep stepping through. Sorry, I know we're a bit short for time. I'll just step back here. Here's some trenching that we did. The great thing about Gamma are all the mineralisations from surface. You can see some trenches there, 60 metres, 1.68 grams, 16 metres, 1.07, 14 metres, 1.07. So, yeah, literally from your first excavator bucket, you're in pay dirt, which, you know, as a mining guy, you know, we love to see that. Small footprint, none of the developments on any, you know, where anyone's living. So from a development perspective, it's actually one of the easiest projects I can think of to actually get into development. You literally land your barges on the beach and start building and developing your roads, and with no dislocation to landholders. Our motto and development in PNG would be to, this is a refractory ore body, would not be to take it to doré, but just to produce a gold and silver rich concentrate. We've done the metallurgical test work. It's still unoptimised, and based on some previous work, we think we'll be able to get up to around about a 30 to 33 gram a tonne con, and the con silver to gold ratio is about 2 to 1, so about double of that in silver. It keeps the process flow sheet simple. It keeps your capex lower. It's effectively a mine, crush, grind, float, and then sell your concentrate either to the Indonesian acid producers or to a refinery smelter in, you know, there's plenty of them in our part of the world, China, Korea, Taiwan. Just very quickly on Wapolo, Wapolo is on a separate EL, but basically we do look at the two projects together and will most likely be developed concurrently. As I said, Wapolo was a previous project in the mid-90s. It got abandoned. I'm going to step through the next few slides and just take you to our JV on Wapolo. But again, some really great intercepts, all very shallow, no drill holes deeper than 100 metres. So we recently announced a JV with a group. It's a Chinese strategic. They're a large ferro titanium producer in Sichuan province. They also recently completed the Edavu hydro project in PNG, about 40 kilometres from Port Moresby. So are well versed in doing business and developing projects in PNG, which was a key and important factor in us proceeding with the JV. EVIH are committing to spend $9.5 million, of which $1 million will come off the table to Adyton, so $8.5 million on undertaking all the feasibility work, ML applications, CEPA applications, landowner agreements, bulk samples, geotechnical drilling, all things necessary to get you to shovel ready. Further to that, they've committed to provide a soft shareholder loan to the JV, which at that point will be 50-50 at the asset level, so it's not, it has no impact on the corporate shareholding structure, to fund the full development of the project with a preferential cash sweep. 90-10 goes back to them until the capex is paid back, and then we are 50-50 JV partners. If they don't deliver on that second phase, their 50-50 shareholding dilutes back to 10%. So it's a really good investment for Adyton shareholders, because it effectively means I do not need to go back to shareholders. I've got no need to go back to shareholders to fund that project into cash flow, so no more dilution at the headco level. I've just been given the eye around my time, so I'm going to pull up there. Thanks for your attention. As I said, the presentation's on our website. There's also a Claris research note, which is on our website as well. You know, if you want to contact me directly, I'm in a booth here. I think it's number 3. And any questions, I'm happy to answer them then. Thanks for your time.